Welcome everybody to Beyond Goals YouTube channel, where we are going to have our first guest on with us today. We have the infamous Darlington Nagbe, one of the best players in MLS history and a teammate of ours in Atlanta with Greg and myself.
Darlington Nagbe, a player who has won 3 MLS Cups with 3 different teams, able to adapt in so many different places, 25 caps with the U.S. national team, and 2 all-star team appearances within the MLS.
Yeah, great overall teammate. We are looking forward to speaking to him. So let's go pick his brain. So first question. When somebody says the mental side of the game, what do you think about?
Think about mental. For me, I say mental preparation and then how you handle things when things aren't going right. Think about those 2 things, I would say. You get yourself ready to play, and then obviously once you're playing, when things aren't going your way, how do you handle that? How do you respond to that? I see those are 2 things that popped in my mind.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's one of the things that, being a teammate of yours was impressive, as far as like you seem to never really get rattled. Both in game with how plays go, but then, game to game, whether it's wins or losses, pretty level headed. Were you always like that? Did that come later on in your career from experience? Has that always been a strength of yours?
That came later on. Growing up, you're usually on like the top teams all the time. So you're not used to losing. And then same, went to college, went to University of Akron, and then same there. We didn't lose many games. So my rookie year was just a little bit of a shock. I got drafted to an expansion team, and then we lost a couple of games in a row. And I was just like, man, like at first, you like get really upset. Like you think you're going to go undefeated during the season, but then it's like you figure out really quick it's not like that. It's not as easy as it is when growing up, being on the top teams all the time. But no, I would say, I think eventually I developed that. The longer I played in the league, more teams I was on, more experiences I had, I think I developed that. Try to always stay consistent, try to stay steady, which is good, in my opinion, is good. But sometimes you don't feel the highs from the wins, but I feel like when you're that way, the lows don't really affect you as well. So I try to be like that.
Yeah, that's one of the things we talk about, mental curve image. Lower highs and higher lows. Staying closer to the mean. I found it valuable, and I see that you are kind of in that same realm. So when you were younger, though, do you think did you overanalyze some of your performances when it wasn't going well? Like when you came off and you thought you had a bad game, or the team had a bad game, would you find yourself analyzing or thinking about the negatives and what went wrong, or were you just kind of upset about the loss and moving on, pretty quickly to the next one? As
a professional or before?
Either one.
Before, when I was younger, I would just cry. Every loss, I would cry. I would just say, "Oh, I wasn't good enough." No matter what happened, I just thought highly of myself. I was like, I was good enough to help the outcome of the game. And then professionally, it was just kind of sit back, watch the tape again multiple times, see when I could have done better. I like watching my clips, my touches, and then watching the game overall, seeing where I could have done better there as well, helping my teammates out. And then, I think once you sit down and analyze it, that's one thing I noticed. You might have a feeling like, oh, I wasn't that good today, or I didn't do this well. But then you watch it again, you're like, oh, I actually had a good game today, or a team actually played well today. We just maybe missed some chances or didn't finish certain opportunities or whatever. But like you always get, I feel like it's rare where I like the feeling that you have during the game and after. I feel like it's rare you have that same feeling when you watch it back.
Yeah, you never played as poorly as you thought you did.
Yeah, never as good as I thought.
You're always good, man.
Sorry, Greg, one second. Did the guys in college find it weird that you were crying after losses?
Yeah, they're like, what's wrong with this guy? This guy has to crying and stuff.
Oh, man.
Sorry, Greg, go ahead.
Dude, I mean, obviously, you always had good games, man. You're probably one of the most poised player. I think a lot of us who have had the pleasure to call you a teammate and friend that we've ever played with, dude. I mean, everybody always asks me, who's one of the best players I've ever played with in my career. You're probably number 1 or 2 on that list, man. So my main question is, how are you able to kind of have that calmness and that poise, that composure within the game? How do you lead up to that before a game and helping yourself understand you can have that calmness throughout the whole entire game? And even when mistakes happen through the game, how do you keep that level head on the mental side of it?
I think I always try to think about the next play. Games don't always go smoothly. You have good games and bad games, but for me, I always try to focus on the next play. Or if I mess up, okay, have 5 good plays, and then you can try something and then go from there. But I was saying then before games, try to get in the right mindset. I don't think about the game too much. I just try to focus on myself, what I can do better, what I can do to help my teammates. Like that's how I've always played, putting the team first, with my teammate first, see what they need from me. Then I feel like the rest of my game will take over from them.
Yeah, I feel like.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
You get nervous before games?
I say I get anxious. That waiting around is like, it's never fun. So for me, it's like, we wake up and then we go to practice. If I could like wake up, kind of have that same routine and go to the game, I feel like I would feel better. But in the same time, sometimes I think I'm a little too calm, which is, it could be good or bad. I feel like, okay, I need something to happen. Like in the game, maybe I missed the first pass or someone comes and tackles me, then it's like, okay, like, let's go. Or if you complete my first passes, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. So sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit too calm. So I've been trying some techniques and stuff, trying to lift myself up, be a little more jacked up for games, but.
Take it more seriously, Darlington. Shoot.
Yeah, I'm a little too calm. Sometimes but then when I'm a little too calm, I'm like, man, I shouldn't be feeling like this. I should be like, a little bit more ready. So like then like you have that mental game, like, am I too calm? Like, it's like, all right, it didn't really affect my performance, so I'm just gonna try and stay the same.
We talk about that because we're like saying how sometimes it's good that you're a little bit nervous because that makes you focus a little bit more, right? You're like aware that, hey, this is a big game, like this is a big performance, I need to play well today, versus like, sometimes you go out to those games where you're like, oh, this team's terrible, we're gonna crush them, right? And then you don't feel any nerves, you're not going into the game so relaxed, and then you play down to your opponent. So it's, a little bit of what you're talking about, I think a lot of the times you're trying not to play down to your opponent out there on the field, right?
Right, correct.
D, I think one of the things you said that really stuck out to me, man, is, obviously you said you try and do everything you can for your teammate. I think every team you've played for, you obviously know your role. Everybody sees you as a wonderful teammate that's always played with you. What would you say your qualities are as a teammate that kind of gives everyone around you to have that leadership quality of leading by example or leading by action in the way that you do? What qualities would you give yourself in having that good teammate values within your game?
I would say just being around different cultures. I would say I feel like I can relate to a bunch of the guys, and though I might not speak certain languages, I feel like I can always, have that compassion for someone. If they're going through something, I always kind of, be an ear for them and give them advice. And then on the field, just like guys do for me, I just try to just be there for them. I always think worst case scenario, if my guy gets beat, can I be there to help him out? Just like you guys did behind me. You guys are always there for the team. So I feel like that's how I try to look at things, and I feel like guys appreciate that, the technical ability that I have, and the type of player that I am, that I'm always willing to put the team first. So I feel like they respect that, and they look at me that way as a good teammate.
So another thing that we talk about with our mentees a lot is changing positions. Coaches tend to play you in different positions based on what they see, and sometimes kids don't react well to that. And we talk, it happens at the professional level as well. Even happened with you, right? You early on in your career, you played a lot more on the attacking side of things, right? And maybe even winger for Portland. I know you played a little bit of wing for the national team, but obviously now you're in the middle of the field playing an 8, playing a 6, and even those roles change. But just talk real quick about like the transition, that if you felt comfortable in other positions, or how you felt. Were you upset with the coaching staff about where you were playing, or did the adaptation to playing different positions?
I don't think I was ever upset with a coach. I always played wherever the coach put me to play, so I don't think I was ever too upset about that. But I think early on in my career, the wing was fine because I feel like I did a good job there, but I feel like it just wasn't me naturally. You have to get on the ball, you have to take risks, you have to take chances, be selfish and get shots off and do all those things. And I felt like I always thought about, okay, well, I'll make a pass, like, oh, I should have shot that one. Or I'll shoot it, I should have passed that one. You know what I mean? I think kind of when I played higher up, I always had like these thoughts in my head of, was I doing the right thing or the wrong thing? Whereas, and I think that kind of affected me and bothered me a little bit. Even though I had a good game, but I just felt like I didn't do the right thing if I was being selfish. But that's what that position calls for. You have to be selfish and take chances.